Yes. So this journey looks different for different people. Some people, nobody is speaking, as an authority on the subject. The way one person pass, it's not the same way that it's not the only way to go. It's not, it's not, that person is not necessarily an expert in every single thing. You can learn at least from their story and from their journey. So right now we have Elijah and we have Oyinda. Elijah is in Canada, Oyinda is in the UK. We're supposed to have Shafi, but she hasn't been able to join yet. And if she joins, she'll be able to join and tell us her own story. And so that's what we are going to start with. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What happened? Why did you leave Nigeria? How did you do it? Let's start with Oyinda.
Are you putting me on the spot?
Yeah.
Started with Elijah. Okay, so okay, so I don't know how to start. Everybody know me, so I don't know if I need to introduce myself again. But anyways, so my name is Oyinda Mola, and okay, so I'm currently a student studying business management at the University of Hull. So I'm surprised I'm on this panel because I'm just would I say, a baby starter. I just started, so I can only share just a little after coming here because I've only spent a couple of, I think, 6 months now outside the country. So, however, coming here, it's just how I started was a plan. It was a plan. It was basically a plan of 5 years. So I don't know if everybody can hear me. So it was a plan of 5 years. Uh, Immediately I left or finished NYSC, it was something I considered thinking my parents can finance me, or it was just not working that way. And you know how these parents are with, I have 5 siblings. Yeah, I have 5 siblings. They're all in school. I went to a private school. My sister went to a private school. My immediate younger sister was an Indian. So it was something like I thought my parents could do that, but I was told, no way. I have to plan it by myself. So it was something of a 5 year plan for me. And I just worked towards it. So it was something I started as far as 2017 for me. And but I couldn't go immediately and I had to work myself. And I had to put everything in place. And I started my journey, saved up, and that was how I got here basically. Now, yeah, I am. So I was fortunate to be here when this whole Japa plan was put in place, but it wasn't a Japa plan. I did not advise people to just do it because everyone is doing it. Because I tell you, it takes a whole lot. And I don't know if I should stop there and allow my colleagues to go. And
That,
didn't do. Should I stop
that's very good. That's very good. I appreciate having your perspective, and that is intentional that I asked you to join because your journey is fresh. Some people left many years ago, and their journey things have changed since then, and so whatever they are saying might be gone and might not be the same. Those may not apply. And I like what you said about being intentional. It's something you plan and it's something you work at. It's not something that happens. You have to work towards it. Mr. Unique, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what your journey is like?
Hi everyone. My name is Elijah, like you guys know. First and foremost, so me leaving Nigeria was, like you said, was very intentional. Was something I actually decided to do. Though I decided very late, not very late, like the same year I decided was the same year I left. So after I finished my service, um, the offer I was getting, I wasn't okay with, and at that point, I just thought, traveling might probably be the best decision for me. Truth be told, obviously, my life has been better off, like it's better off here than, when I was in Nigeria. However, there are still a lot of people doing
You
absolutely
speak that
well.
Mr. Days English, Elijah. What is your zeros, girl?
No vex.
there?
However, there are a lot of people in Nigeria doing obviously well than people abroad, and it's not something I regret. I'm happy I did. But I still see myself at some point. I'll probably go back to Nigeria at some point for some reason. But obviously, my life is obviously better. I came in as a student, did my master's in applied economics, and and I finished. Of course, going back wasn't an option at the time, obviously, but it's been a journey. The whole process took about, so I don't know about the UK, but Canada is kind of like a direct stop. So I came in as a student. So what you do is look for a school, um, pick a school of your choice in any area. Usually they advise people to pick two schools, pick a school or two schools, apply for the two schools, whichever gives you admission. And it's the same admission you use to process your visa application. I find that a lot of people get admitted into university. Uh, Getting admission isn't too difficult, but what brings a lot of people down is the visa application. And that's because a lot of people are either not informed or they go through like the agent or whoever they use, they just advise them accordingly. I have friends who were denied. I have friends who, were able to get in. And I can tell you, for you to get approved, some things you need, and for you, when they deny you, you probably got some things wrong. For the visa, Canada is probably one of the countries in the world that you hold your passport for a long time for some reason. I don't know why. I don't remember my passport was held for like 4 months. No communication from them. I was obviously getting nervous and these people, return my passport or stuff like that. But unfortunately, I came and the same week it came was the same week I left. And unlike the UK, it's just a couple of weeks. I think you get your visa. The US same thing, but Canada, it's a lot of process. For US, I don't know if you have been there. Obviously, they do like an interview. For Canada, there's an interview. So what you put on paper is the interview. So whatever they get, whatever if you can convince them on paper, that's your interview. The reason why they take so long is because obviously they have a lot of applications, and Nigeria actually doesn't have Canadian consulate. Yeah, they don't have like this thing. So it's like one distance on the island. You either take a passport there, so they'll ship it either to Ghana or to Kenya or to South Africa. I think Ghana or Kenya is the closest to us, so that's where your visa comes from. And when they are done, they're gonna, I think, DHL it back. And you can pick it up. When they approve your visa, usually for the time it takes to get your passport, it's usually maybe a day or 2 days or 3 days. It doesn't take time at all. Then from there you can think of giant back. However, if you want to jump, obviously you should have plans. Canada is somewhat direct. If it's school, you finish school, they have so many programs that can allow you to stay in the country and get your permanent residency, and you can go from there. I think as your program or your stuff move on, I'll probably talk more on that.
All right.
So that's fine.
Yeah. So me, mine was different. I never planned to travel. It didn't cross my mind. I was in school. I was in undergrad. I was focusing on my studies and getting 5 points. That was my dream. So my dad just called me and said, "Hey, you have to come to Canada. I've done my visa, I've done everything." So I stopped school and I went to Canada. It would not take like maybe 2 months. I had already done everything, so I didn't have any plans. The only time I was really involved in the process was my parents, and like that's when I had a semblance of what it would look like to get someone to come to abroad. Now, so for me, my parents did it for me. So that's family and help you travel. For my wife, she got married. When you get married to someone, that's another way to leave the country. The both of you guys have talked about school. School is another way that people leave the country. You get admission into school, uh, and then once you get your admission, you apply for visa and leave the country. So I wanted you guys to talk about what you think the best way is. I'm not other ways you're aware of that people can live. Let's talk about school, family, marriage, and maybe Olinda will start. What other ways are you aware of, and what do you think is the
Okay, so apart from the student route for UK, there are other routes. Okay, so as Elijah couldn't have said, you could get married to. Okay, so for me now, if you got married to me as I am in the UK, you'll be able to come to the UK and join your family because they allow that also your spouse to join you in the UK. However, because I'm in a student visa, which is called a tier 4 visa, means that this my visa is just going to cover my period of my study, after which I apply for a postgrad visa. So during that visa too, if I get married, then your spouse can also join. That's the second route. And another route is to the quality two, which is worker visa. So basically, if you have some of the skills that are in shortage in the UK, so most I'm sure a lot of people have been hearing something about care work, social work, support worker. Um, that's not the only kind of visa sponsorship you can get, which is under tier 2. There's also the one for if you have a shortage job profession, like if you have like technicians, not pharmacists, technicians, if you have a lab scientist, if you have a chemistry person or something, those those courses are shortage in the UK, and you can use that route and connect with companies in the UK, get a job from them, and those companies will sponsor your visa. So you come as a tier 2 visa, that's worker visa route to the UK. This visa lasts for about 5 years. After which, when you're on that tier 2 visa, you now have a path to apply for ILR, which is your indefinite leave to remain. So this now comes towards your getting your permanent residency in the UK. So you have the student route, you have the work route, which is the tier 2 visa, and sometimes you also have spousal route. You get married to somebody that already has a student visa or postgraduate visa or a ILR visa. So you also be able to come to the UK. And these are basically the route you have to come to the UK. And if you seek asylum, which they often do not offer to Nigerian people a lot, because even if they give it to you, they'll probably send you to Ghana or somewhere or some of those African states. But you can seek asylum too. So those are the couple of ways you can come to the UK.
right? So
But the best way, I can't really say sorry to interrupt. I can't really say the best way, just just for you to pick. But if you are not a study kind of person, you could actually take the worker way. However, with the working way, the care work, which is what largely offers, you can see this sponsorship there. If you are good with caring for people, and you know what, okay, so when they say care for people now, a lot of people, if you're good with like the way you care for older people or younger people with if you can care for somebody with disabilities, you can care for elderly people, and a whole lot. You're a nurse too. Very easy for you to come to the UK because your occupations are in need. And we have a lot of older people in the UK, despite the fact that they have a very bad habit of smoking and doing a lot of things. You'll be surprised. They grow old very early, like plenty. They have a lot of elderly people. In short, there are some communities where you just see elderly people, you don't see younger people there. So these places, so that is why they need care work or nurses in the UK to take care of their elderly ones, because of course they really cherish the life of their citizens. So that's a way for you to come to the UK, which is, I'm sure a lot of people have been hearing that in Nigeria. And a lot of people are doing it in the UK. But that's not for if you're good about that, if you want to do that care or support role or not, that's a good way for you to come to the UK if you can do that. And if you can, because and if you can withstand all that, what it comes to. I think you should just read about this care work, this care work route or this tier 2 visa route, which is basically care work is like a one example of how you can come. You can read all about it. You'll be able to know what exactly you want to do, how you want to come to the UK. I chose the student route because that's what I love. And it
right,
eased you gently into the system here. So that was why I went with the student route.
well,
Thank
so,
you.
yeah, yeah. So the care route is a good one that you mentioned, an asylum. Care and even job, looking for a job is different in different countries. So in the UK, I don't know if I'm accurate, but it appears to be easier to go to the UK through the care route than it is to come to Canada looking for a job, because it's very hard to find a job remotely in Canada. I don't know if
Yeah, I think for UK really, okay, as I've said, there are a lot of elderly people here. So I'm sure, I've not checked the statistics, but I'm sure that they have a couple of care homes, like a lot of care homes in the UK because of the percentage of their population that is elderly. So it
mm,
makes them have, so this care homes take about a large percentage of this visa sponsorship. So because they know that their people can do this job, some of this job. So they need a lot of people from other places, other countries to come do this job for them. And that's not because they are being racist or anything. It's because we shouldn't lie. They don't go to school in the UK. After their high school, they just go. Okay. Another good part about getting a job in the UK is that they really do not ask you for a lot of certificates. So I would advise that if you know you're struggling in Nigeria and you don't have a lot of because probably your result is so bad and you can't get a proper job in Nigeria or any other part of the world, you can come to the UK. They basically do not ask you for anything. They just ask you, have you gone to high school? Your wife result is good, right? Have you gone to high school? And you have English, you're good. You can start any job. They're not going to ask you that, do you have a BSc? They're not going to ask you that, do you have anything? They're not going to ask you all those. You start any job, and you're good, and you'll be earning the basic salary, which the minimum salary, which you can use to take care of yourself. And if you save up a little, you can use it to pack and enjoy yourself. So that is the good part about getting a job in the UK. It's kind of easy for the they call it the unskilled labor. Yeah, unskilled labor. It's actually very easy for you to get a job in the UK. I don't know about Canada, but in the UK it's kind of easy. But me saying it's easy now, it's relative. So depending on where you are, or depending on where you want to come to in the UK. So that's how easy it is. So more like if you're going to Lagos, to get a job in Lagos, it's kind of easy, but at the same time, it's not that easy because you have the population, you have the jobs, you have everything. So you need to get the job. But if you're going somewhere like Ogun State and you want to get the job, you know that it might not be so easy there. So depending on where you want to go to.
just to clarify, you said
That's it.
University of Hull, that's where you are, right?
Sorry, I can hear you. Sorry.
You said University of Hull, that's where you are. Hello?
Just a moment. Let me just clear my bed.
And never mind. So it's important that we don't mince words when we are talking about what it means to do care jobs. So what it means, these jobs. These jobs are not funny jobs. They're not jobs that the average Nigerian will do in Nigeria. You know, they talk about caring for older people. What does that mean? It means an older person, a disabled person who maybe shits on their body. There are implications. You have to, if you say you can do that kind of job, you have to, change the person's diaper. That's not fun for many Nigerians. So it depends on what you can do. Uh, you come here. Many people, their initial job might be a factory work. You know, I worked in a factory. In fact, I worked in demolition when I came here, try and break buildings. I can't. No. So you have to understand when it says easy to get jobs, it's easy, but the kind of job that you're getting is the kind of job that the average person is not willing to do here. That's how everybody starts. Now, after some time, you can move up, but we are going to start at a certain place. Yeah, I was clarifying with you, Linda, that you were saying you are at the University of Hull, Hull, right? I have a
Yeah.
friend that's looking for a job. I'll tell her to talk to you.
Oh no, Div, I tell you the kind of okay, so I basically don't do a care job. I basically work at McDonald's and
Yeah.
I, I,
That's
I do I do what you call a waitress at McDonald's. So I basically serve people and everything. And if you compare it to where I'm coming from in Nigeria, I don't want to tell you how it is, but that's what I wait. No, no.
McDonald's.
But basically, still better. You can meet the basic requirement for yourself
Mm,
while working because I'm a student and they do not expect a student to work. So
all
they
right.
expect when I was coming from Nigeria, I have everything. I told them I had my proof of fund, I had the money to survive monthly and everything in my account. So the work limit already is 20 hours. That's another thing for so if you're using the student route, uh, you have to consider what you can do. Of course, I told you that this is a 5-year plan for me. So I'd saved up and
Mm,
I didn't even know I was going to come here married. Marriage just came into it. And I would say that it's like the grace of God. It's God working with my plan because I'm saying that I'm thinking in my head that now that even with my 5-year plan and the money I've saved up, I tell you, without my husband working a full-time job here, I don't think I'll be able to meet up some of my expectations, especially with regards to my school fees. So that is what is helping me now. So I basically just work to pay my house rent and probably feed daily feed, and my husband works to pay my school fees
Mm.
when it's due. So some of these things is things you have to consider, and are you willing to do it? Like care for me, I cannot do this care work that they're saying. I can't do it. So and it pays more. That's another thing. It pays more than the regular McDonald's or the regular other jobs you want to say. So depends on you. How do you like money? How much do you like money? Are you willing to do this thing? Because people that like money, they do not care. If you go for that job for a couple of hours, you'll be earning what I'll be earning in 2 days, but you just went for a couple of hours. So depending on how you want to do it, you want to, how is your hustle? Yeah. What's your hustle level? Depending on your hustle level, are you really hustle really hard? You don't mind, you just want to make it, you just want to get a lot of money. So those are the things you have to consider before choosing a route. So this care worker route now is you saying that I don't want to go to school. I just want to do this care work, which will lead me to my ILR and later my permanent residency.
Mm.
But for me now, I'm going to go through this route, student route, then jump to postgraduate route, then jump to a visa sponsorship route, then later ILR.
Mm.
So it's a whole process for me. But am I willing to take that? Yes,
All right.
that
I,
is
I
what I want to do.
I do like what you say about, having someone,
Yeah,
paying school fees is not easy, but at least for most people. I
it's not.
use my wife as an example again. If she didn't have someone there that is paying her school fees, it will not work at all. So that's another thing to think about finances. And we're going to talk about finances, but there's another thing you mentioned that was asylum, and I would like Elijah to talk about this. That's another way to come to Canada to come abroad. It's to say that your life is in danger, someone is trying to kill you, or something is going to happen to you. Therefore, that's why I've met, I know a Nigerian here who said that they are running from Boko Haram. That's why they are in Canada. They're running from Boko Haram. And they are from Lagos. So I always ask, is Boko Haram, Boko Haram in Lagos? How? Well, you say that you're running for something. Some people can say, "Oh, I'm gay. I'm gay," and if I go to Nigeria, they'll beat me, they'll kill me, or something. So that's another way. Elijah, I don't know if you've encountered this kind of way to move abroad. So,
I don't know. Should I start? Okay, let me start from that one. There are different ways of coming to Canada, actually. Like, they're similar to every country, like every Western country, just like the UK. And also there are different ways. We talked about the student route. So Canada has a more direct student route compared to the UK. So Canada just come, once you can get in, most likely you would stay. So when you study, let's say you study for 2 years, Canada will give you a 3-year working visa. Even before the 3 year expires, you can apply for your permanent residency. So it's a more direct, it's like very direct, unlike the UK where you have to do like 5 years and watch out and all. Canada is very direct. If you study for 1 year, they'll give you 1 year working visa. However, it doesn't mean after your 1 year, you would leave the country. So this thing depends on how good you are when it comes to like the job you do too. So after the 1 year or before the 1 year expires, Canada will not want you to leave. They hardly tell people to leave the country. If you're doing fine, you're paying taxes. They really don't hear stuff like that. So after the 1 year, you can apply again for maybe like another 1 year, and after that, you can apply for your permanent residence. To stay in Canada. It's a very direct this thing. Um, Let me jump to the asylum. So it's something a lot of people use. You can do it either inside Canada or outside Canada. So what it is the asylum route is, you can say, something bad is happening to you at home. Though you need to understand that these guys are intelligent. So it depends on how well you can market yourself. So you can't just come and cook up one story for them. Uh, they see Pesti Lego. Anyway. Oh, okay. Sule said he has a question. Sule said he has a question. Okay, Sule, just a sec. I'll answer the question. The asylum, this it depends on how well you can market yourself. It's just like a job interview. So you have to like, if you say you're running from Boko Haram, so let me tell you what it is. I've spoken to a few people that went through that route and a lot of things. So it's not like a direct this thing. I'm running from Boko Haram. It's okay, yeah, stay. No. So when you apply for it, but the good thing about it is when you apply for it, so sometimes it takes like a year or two before they respond to you. But the good thing is for that 1 year or two, they'll give you free working permit. You can work, make money for like 1 or 2 years, do anything you want. The only thing is you're not allowed to leave the country, but you can travel anywhere within the country, work, gather money. After the 2 years, if they not approve, they go, so yeah, on the go. But at least you've worked for like 1 or 2 years. But the thing is, like I said, it depends on how you can market yourself. If you say like, for example, Boko Haram, they will ask you, okay, Boko Haram is in the northern part. Why don't you go to the southern part? So you have to be able to defend these things. If you talk to a professional, they will try to tell you, they'll try to push you through that. Okay, this because they will ask you, why don't you go to the southern part? So you don't know anybody that you're not of the same tribe. It will be difficult. They say, that's a point. They'll now come again. Why don't you do this? So you have to like dot all I's and cross all T's, because it's like a panel. So they're gonna call you one like this. It's like a court. I've been to a court here before, so I know what it is. So they'll call you like this one-on-one. I know, don't worry, my own a speeding ticket. I'll go fight them because the way Peter they look me, no be that kind of court. But the truth is, they're gonna ask you like question like this. So why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? If you're within the country, if you're outside the country, it's what you write down, what you can put together. I know. If they approve it for you, you're good to go. They'll give you permanent residence straight. Like you don't have to go through any process. I know. Now, so this thing, a lot of people don't know the next way you can come to Canada is through visiting. So people don't know this now, that even as a visitor, if you get a job in Canada, you can work. So Canada started this, I'll probably say during the COVID, this thing. It's a very, even before that, people have been doing it, but they made it very official that if you come in as a visitor or as a tourist, in fact, I used to think students coming in as a student is the easiest way. Actually, this is the easiest. If you come in as a tourist or visitor, if you can convince them enough that you just want to come and visit. Once you get into the country, you can get a job. You can use the job. You can use the job to
What have you know invented?
no, so you can use the job to apply for a work permit and stay in Canada. And after your work permit, you can try to apply for a permanent residency. A lot of people have, used this route to stay in Canada. So it's probably one of the fastest way. It can be tricky, but once you enter Canada, be sure that you get a job, one way or the other. But hopefully it's a skilled job. You can use the application. You can apply to immigration, say, where I found a job and all. And you can, it's very easy. So two easiest for me is student and visiting. So those two are actually very easy. Visit Canada, get a job and all. Another way is skilled job. So let's say there are so many skilled jobs. If you're in the medical field, it's like a direct pass. Chindo will know this, like direct pass. They're always looking for people in that medical field a lot in Canada. You can apply from Nigeria and you'll get something. You don't have to necessarily apply for a job. Like there's a process, go to their website, apply and different things. If you're an auditor or in the accounting this thing, an engineer, same thing too. If you're a professional or something, same thing. You can apply directly from Nigeria and you come in as a permanent resident. So what that means is once you're a permanent resident, after 3 years, you become a citizen, in Canada. So they have a more direct route to staying in Canada than the UK. Another thing again is and there are some that are unskilled. So like you're a plumber, you're a carpenter, you're stuff like that. So they have a route for that too. So they didn't leave.
I heard the Taylor one recently.
Yeah, Taylor. Yes. Though it's difficult, yeah. You have to be able to market yourself. This thing has to do it. So it's just like you're applying for a job interview, right? You have to just a lot of people, you and I know now, the kind of lie when they true for job interview. They say, "Can you do this?" We've been
I
doing
was
this
doing
since
it
I was
when I was still in my mom's room.
you know. So it just depends how you can market yourself in your CV, put everything. Um, and all, yeah. So I'll answer. I saw Cynthia's question. I'll answer that too. So pretty much that. So they have a more direct route. So but a lot of people don't know these things, and that's why don't let your phone just be your phone. You can Google anything. Anything. Ask questions. One of the reasons why I don't do this is because I feel I have a job and I feel it takes a lot of time. Takes time. You have to research. You have to process this and that. And I find that a lot of Nigerians, they just want you to do everything for them. So I just stopped, doing this. If you tell them do this, I remember one time my friend wanted to come and they said she write letter of intent. So I remember then I sent him like a format, the one I wrote, in the letter of intent, there are some things one of the things you put say, after I finish studying, I'll come back. It has to be there, even though you and I know, so go back, Cynthia, but you put it there that I will come back. Yeah, the guy say no, that let him copy my own. And I say, oh my God. So it's a lot. Nigerians generally, have that this is so that's why I just don't do it. But pretty much it's and then Chindo talked about the care stuff. So Canada has, unlike the UK, they've opened that care stuff for some years now. So if you're like a care worker in Nigeria, you can just all you need to do is maybe get a certificate or something from hospital, say you've been doing this thing, and or just package yourself, then apply. You can actually come in as a permanent resident. Just do everything, apply. You can come in as a permanent resident. But I think one thing that stops people. Tim, do you want to say something?
I was just going to interrupt you and go to the next subject. So we cover a lot of things. So what I'm
Okay.
from you guys, and this is the truth. I'll tell you the truth. I know when you hear it in abstraction about entering Canada is very hard. This is how I would say it. It's hard to enter Canada. Very hard to enter Canada. Even you package yourself takes 2-3 years. It's express entry. It's very complicated. It's very hard. But once you get into Canada, it's easy to stay. Once you have got into school, you get admission, you're there, it's easy to stay. It's very
easy to stay.
Talking about the person who said Bukaram is watching. And the funny thing about that thing is that you can stay as long. They say 2 years before they respond to you. That 2 years comes.
2 years.
And now appeal. You say appeal. I appeal.
Exactly. If you take another 2 years.
Then
4 years, you don't
I don't bump again. I've given birth to a child. Like
this, that one
automatic
stay.
Another
automatic stay.
So it's very, very hard to
exactly.
But it's hard to enter, but easy to stay. The UK is the opposite. It's easy to enter the UK, in my experience. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
She is right, and hard to stay.
For UK, actually, it's easy to enter the UK.
Yeah.
But to stay too, despite what people are saying outside, it's actually kind of easy to stay in the UK too, because nobody's going to tell you that, go out here or go there or something. Even this care that we're talking about, people buy with money now in the UK. These are things you won't hear in Nigeria coming here. But when you get to the UK, you see it's easy for you to buy it. I know a lot of people that are on student route. When they got to the UK, they switched into this tier 2 visa, which is the care worker route or whatever worker route. They switched because when they got here, they just looked at it. That was the point. We can buy this visa stuff. We can buy this visa stuff for these 5 years. Let's buy it and let's just switch. And after that 5 years, which is counting towards your ILR, you apply for ILR and you are good to stay. However, where I would say that it's actually difficult to stay in the UK is because, so let's take Canada, for example, US, for example. If I give birth, like now, if I give birth in, I really do not want to give birth in the UK. I want to give birth in Canada or in the US because once I give birth, my child is a citizen of Canada automatically, and the child can actually bring me into the country in the future anytime, and You understand? Or US, I could actually go
Can't
there
even
and
send you away because would they send you and send the child?
and
Because,
I heard that after 3 months they start giving the child something money after 3 months, and I'm
In
like,
Canada or UK.
Canada,
That'll be
Canada.
3 months. Now immediately
Um,
now.
now immediately. Are you serious? You
Ah,
see?
till
You
the
see?
child is 18. Now, be till I know. Is it?
it's
Are you
to be,
serious?
the money is not big. If people abuse it. It's not big like that. And if
Wait, till how much? They've increased that money within the last
you
few
rely on
years. So
that
far
money,
last year.
the money you use
Okay,
to
how much?
child because to take care of a child abroad is expensive. You pay for daycare, pay for the money you used to take care of a child will be more than the money that they give you. So I don't know how much. I
But
feel like
it's
Oh, but
something.
it's
It's
going to be like
something
a relief.
to use to
A
sustain. At
relief,
least you
right?
are working. They just like a change. How much is it? Because
I don't
last
know.
time I heard,
I think it was like 600. I don't remember.
yeah, like 600,
100.
or 700 or something. Yeah, like
Ah,
that.
hmm.
In my experience, in my estimate.
Change the more
But it's
talk
still
through.
a relief.
600 is it not enough for one
It's a
child in the
relief.
month? Now abroad we pay more talk through. He
It's a
what did the
relief.
child want chop?
It's even good for the child, like just basically for the child. Some months you spend more than that, and some months you not even spend that at
But the
all
parent is working. In fact, some parent don't touch that money. They just save the money till the child
for
is
the
18. You
child.
collect that money till that child is 18.
Mm.
Sorry to interrupt you. Another thing I wanted to say is, so another route is marriage, like changes said. But Canada has something they call common law. So common law is when two people are cohabiting. So for example, if I have a girlfriend and she's here and we're living together, it's referred to as common law. If we stay together for 1 year, is regarded to as common law. So the same law that applies to married people is the same law that applies to me and that girl. So what it means is if, for example, I don't get paper, the girl get paper, even though we are not married. So they don't do this in UK or US. So they do
They
it in
do.
Canada. So even
We
though
have
we are not
common law
married,
partners too. I don't know how deep it is, but we
so
have
even though we are
common
not
law
married,
partners.
the partner can file for me that we've been living together. If I can prove that we're living together for 1 year, or you just bring bill, say, well, my name did the lease, this one, and it has been like 1 year. She can file for me and I can stay in Canada. So this common law too, I know. So
Mm.
continue.
So the next thing we should talk about is cost because you guys talked about how you had to work. Especially said it was a 5-year plan. You had to work. And can you tell us exactly what that work looked like? How much did you have to raise? What exactly did you have to apply for? What were the strategies you used to sell yourself? What exactly did that look like? Let's start with Oinda.
Okay, so I would have loved for you to start. Okay, so I'll jump in because I know a lot of people want to hear. I mean, I can see sincere questions, and really, why
Yeah,
I
a
said
lot
it
of
was a
people.
5-year plan
True.
is because it's actually capital intensive financially. It's actually very okay. So before I left the country, Okwe also know the kind of job I was doing then. I was before I left, I was earning like 6.6 million per annum. However, that was at that point I decided that okay, so I think I've made enough and I could just gather some of this money and go. However, the total money I used to travel before you even leave the country, you have some expenses you've incurred. So off the top of my head, I know that I think you guys will have to do the conversion yourself because I can't do I can't do the conversion now. But before I left, I saved up a little. So I looked at the school I picked was because of cost. However, cost was not there initially when I started. I had this school, I already got the admission for this school as far back as 2017. However, I couldn't pay then. Then when I calculated the expense, it was like 10 million, which is still the same cost for the school now, right now as I speak. It was 10 million. And I was like, oh, I was thinking my parents was going to finance, but that was not an option. So I decided to start planning towards it. So when I started paying money, I had about 5 million plus. So I paid my initial 2,000 pounds deposit so that I can get the CAS. We call it certificate of sponsorship. So I got that, which is what after I've chosen my school based on the reason why I chose my school is because it's one of the cheapest school in the UK. So that is why I chose it. And I was like thinking for myself before I even got married, I was like, I could finance this myself. So I picked it for cheapness. So I paid the 2,000 pounds initially. After which, then I decided to do my passport, which is, I wouldn't say the price, but everybody know the price of passport. I didn't do it the regular internet. I had to use somebody else. So I did my passport. Then I had to do pay your visa fees. And this visa fee now, because my course is for about 1.5 years, 16-month course. It's not the regular 1 year course. So it's a 16-month course. So I was billed, my visa fee was like 1.5 of the 1 year and a half. So I was bid about, I think I paid about 1,000 plus, where every other person was paying, no, I paid 1,005. Every other person was paying like 900 and something, 1,000, but I paid 1,005 and for myself.
So
And
sorry to
that,
cut you. Do you mean 1,500 pounds?
yeah, 1,500 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah. Because my IHS alone was already on a 940 pounds, which is the
Wow.
health insurance for me already was 940 pounds. And my visa was 400 and yeah, my visa was 400 and something. So 990 or 940 plus 465 or 400. And I don't really have it off the top of my head. But I know I was paying up to like 1,005 pounds for this visa and IHS fee. And my school fees was a total of 11,000 for 11,000, 11,008. Somebody is raising up their hand.
Yeah, we'll get
So,
to questions. Let's just
so,
give them like
so
minutes. We'll get to questions.
give me a few minutes. So my school fees was about 11,000. It's about 11,008. So after paying 2,000, 2,000 is about 1 point. As I when I started early 2021, which was when I paid. It was about 1.1 million. So I paid that. Then I paid this IHS. IHS is almost going to 1 million too for me and 1 million for my husband. So at that point, I got married. So the burden reduced on me a bit because, of course, so I was able to keep my money too. So immediately we got to the UK. Before you come to the UK, I was asked to pay about £3,000 for my for me to get my what do they call it, my ID card to stay in the country, which is, I don't know what we call it, is up to BRP, biometric resident permit. So I need that so that I can get that card. So I had to pay £3,000, which is about 2 million plus before I leave Nigeria. So the initial 1 million plus this 2 million, which I paid in September last year, plus my IHS fee, which is about, let me just put this in pounds. So 2,000 plus £3,000 plus 1,005 pounds, which is about, let's say five, is it £6, right? £6,000, yeah. So I had to pay £6,000 to come to the UK. So when I got to the
Ha.
UK, my school fees remaining about 7,000 or so, because I already paid 5,000 out of 11,000. So that's also 7,000. However, coming to the UK as a single person, it's not something I would advise. I recently spoke to my besties about this, my bestie about it,
True.
Loretta. So I told her about it because I wouldn't come here to tell you that it's all roses or anything. But I tell you, and one thing about student visa is that I have a limit of 20 hours per week. No, yeah, per week. So I can only work for 20 hours. I can't work more than that because I know what I'm working towards. I want to get the post-study visa and I want to get my ILR afterwards. So I don't want to flout any rules because there are people that do that. If you do more than that, I tell you my full chest, you pay your school fees by yourself. If you do more than 20 hours, you pay your school fees by yourself without depending on anything. If you do 40 hours per week in the UK as a single person, you pay your bills. However, this is not something I would advise because if you know what you're working towards, for people that do this, most of them, probably their spouse is already getting the KS sponsorship, or they want to go to Canada, or they are planning to go back to Nigeria to start up a business and all those. So those are people that do it because this place is where you can, I tell you, this place you can make your money. The money I make monthly, the money you make monthly when you're in the UK, it's going to be more than what you'll be making monthly if you're in Nigeria. However, you have to consider the cost of living and everything. So you can't relatively say, oh, it's more, or you can't say that, oh, you are better than people that are in Nigeria or whatever. But when you consider the fact that if I work for 40 hours, you pay your school fees, but as a single person and as a student, you're only allowed to work for 20 hours. So you must have saved up the remaining balance of your school fees, which is about, if you convert 7,000 pounds to with 600, which is the current exchange rate, you should know that's 4.2 million balance of your school fees. That 4.2 million balance of your school fees, you should have it. If you do not have it, you should plan on how to have it. And a 20-hour work would not give you that. You will not be, because you have to pay your rent, you have to pay all these things. So you have to consider that. Except if you have somebody that is going to sponsor you back in Nigeria, good, you can do as you like. You can come here and you are good. But if you
Oh,
do not have anybody that you are relying on in Nigeria, the balance of your school fees is 4.2 million naira. You have to consider that. You have to keep it safe. So before you come here at all, you'll be paying like 7,000 or 6,000, which is like, I don't know, 4 million or something. No, more than 4 million, of course. But if you convert that to naira, you know what it is. So you have to have that. Then when you also get here, you have to know, put in place how to get your balance if you are not being sponsored. Because like most of us now, I'm sure most people are not being sponsored at this age that we are now. I'm sure everybody's looking independent. You are not being sponsored. So you have to be looking like 10 million naira for yourself before you even plan. Even if you now have 10 million naira, have like 7 million, 6 million for yourself before
right.
you even plan to step out of the country.
Let's quickly get to Elijah to tell us the cost he incurred, that process of application and traveling and everything, what work he had to put in. And after that, we'll go to questions. So Elijah, quickly.
All right, thank you. First, when you say you are getting 6.6 annual, Abe, give me the link of that. Now let me hear that thing. Oyinda, the
Yeah,
link of that
annually,
job.
yes. I work in First Bank, and I was not a BA grade. I was not a first level grade. I was not a second level grade. I was a third level grader, and I'm sure Okoyemi, we are in the same industry, so he knows the kind of level I was. I was earning 6.6 per annum as when I left Nigeria. So not to say that, oh, we are not doing good or we would not do good or anything when we left Nigeria, and not to say that, oh, this is something I planned. This is not something that I just decided or wake up one day, because earning 6.6 million, I'm not doing bad for myself, but it is a plan. It is what I want for myself. You said it. Your life got better. Not to say that your life was not better in Nigeria. A lot of things I'm having BP over while I was in Nigeria is no more here. Light, water, electricity. Normal me now will have been complaining that my light is going to go off soon. Let us quickly finish this thing. Or I will have gotten my power bank, my phone will be on it and everything, or honing my gen and everything. And some of these things are not something that I bother about again, because and a lot of things now come into place. My partner come into place, I come into place, my children come into place and everything. So you have to just, it's not something that you just wake up one day and say, follow the trend because everybody's going out of the country. Oh, I also want to go out of the country. No.
Yeah, let
No,
Elijah
for me,
tell
it's
us
not
his
that.
own cost quickly so we can go to questions and his work.
Okay. Yeah, we need a link up after the meeting. Thank you.
Okay.
6.6. Computers are not here. Anyways. uh man, Oyinda moving to the UK, that was expensive. On a contrary, Canada, I don't think you need that much though. So I used an agent. At the time I paid the agent 150k. And the agent carried me through. The agent had an office in Ikeja, Allen to be precise. Carried me through. However, it's something you can do on your own. I've met people who did it on their own. It's not a difficult process. The only reason why I used an agent is because I feel they know more about it and they can walk me through the whole process. I used an agent, and when you get your passport, and all you need to do is look for a school. You pay the application fee. Most schools in Canada, the application fee is on an average $100. On an average, most schools, the application fee is $100. And when you do that, your agent fee, once you get your admission, you pay your visa application fee. Forgotten, so visa application should be, I'm trying to remember, maybe 150 or $200. It's a flat rate. There's no, because you're using 1.5 year, you pay 1 year and a half. No, it's a flat rate, or 500. I can't remember, but it's not 500. I want small amount at the time. However, so that's that. When I was in Nigeria, I was working. I was helping my dad at the time. I felt my life could have been better. That was why I took the decision to leave. If I was earning 6.6, I not come out. It's just my decision. I'm new. I won't leave. Say 6.2, they worry you're worried about life. I'll buy generator and fuel. Don't worry. But then notwithstanding, if you use an agent, this is just what you spend. Now, obviously, agents charge more because of inflation, but at most they shouldn't charge me than 300, 400 at most. I'm just telling you what the process is like. Get a school, pay application fee of like $100, do your visa application fee. However, so this is where Canada do not accept a lot of people. So Canada generally, your statement of account, they want you to have a certain amount in your account, or whoever your sponsor is, excuse me, whoever your sponsor is, we have a certain amount. At the time, it was 7 million. At some point it was 5 million, then increased to 7 million. I think now it's about 10 million or so. Just so that amount is just for them to see that this person can survive when he or she gets to Canada. However, what a lot of people do is they buy statement of account or have the way of doing it. When they come Canada, they have proof of thank you, proof of they find a way. When they come Canada, like Chinju said, it's difficult to enter. But when you enter, you can find your way around it. There are different ways you can stay there. What some people do is once they do that, when they enter Canada, some will defer admission for 1 year. They'll go work for like 1 year to raise money for their school fees. Some, in fact, Canada now, as a student, I think you can work more than 20 hours a week. I think they started, a lot of people do it anyways, Canada usually don't go and say how many hours this guy work. Most times they don't do that, except if your grade is so bad. If you say, why this guy grade bad like this? Why is he not in school? Or, something, hey, they will not go extra. But most times they don't really bother. I think you can work over 20 hours a week. So the process in coming to Canada is not so tough. However, it's tough because it's Canada. Because you have to like dot all your I's and cross all your T's. Unlike the UK, like when you did the whole this thing, it's not really like that. If you're coming as a student, it is straightforward stuff. Get admission and apply for your visa. For the visa application, what you need is the key thing is your statement of account, or whoever your sponsor will be, you'll put it there. If you're married, however, and you're coming to Canada to study, in fact, personally, I feel abroad is for two people. It's not for one person. Like when you tell you, it's just the truth. I discovered it like the first month I came.
I also tell you that too. I'm not the only one.
See, I still need to do the fresh now. So you fresh before. It's a married man. Abroad now, two people. I discovered the first month I came in. The reason is if you're not working, your spouse is working. If someone loses his or her job, another person has, and two income together, you guys will do a lot. However, it's not that one person can survive. Obviously, one can survive, but you do more when two is in it and all. So pretty much that's it. It's a direct process when it comes to Canada. But this thing that brings people down is statement of account. So yeah, pretty much that's it though. Yeah.
I'll just add that with Canada, it's possible to dot all your I's and still not get it.
True, Sha.
Everything right. They still not.
Okay, yeah, that's true. I forgot.
Yeah, I feel like it's more like you know what you want to do it your own way. So that's, I think, a big difference. Let's take questions now. Let's start with Dr. Emi. You have a question. Can you put on your camera and your microphone, please?
Hello.
Yeah,
can you hear me?
We know they see you now. We can hear you, but they see.
Oh yeah, you can see me now. Okay.
This guy.
So can you see me now?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So my question is, I've been doing a lot of research recently, and for me, I did a research about education. I did a research about what's it called? There's express entry and there's PMP. Some of us, we have work experience, and it's not all of us that can actually fund education by ourselves, like you guys said earlier on. So my own research with PMP, I discovered that you don't need to apply for express entry before you can apply for the PMP. for express entry, there's usually a CRS score for express entry. And probably I'll be 30 this year. By April, by next month, I'll be 30. And being 30 years, I don't think I'll stand a chance with express entry. Although I have like 4 years of experience in my as to which province needs my own skill. And I've seen such province. But I think I have 1 or 2 things that is actually stalling my application. I need to do 1 or 2 things. For the English test, that one is sorted. For the, what was it called? West evaluation. That one also is sorted. So my questions go thus. I've heard about New Brunswick. New Brunswick is a province in Canada.
It's actually
So I had
the closest province to me here.
Okay. So I had to do virtual recruitment, and if you probably get a job in New Brunswick province via virtual recruitment, you can actually do your PNP using that. How true is that? That is one. Two, for the schooling routes, I've been able to research some schools. I think the cheapest that I saw was University of Saskatchewan. I also saw another school. I don't remember now. I think St. Fraser University or something like that. So my question is, although I saw it there that you can probably pay per semester. You can pay your tuition per semester. So my question is, I stumbled upon an article sometimes last year that international students in Canada are allowed to work beyond 20 hours.
Yeah, I said that. Yeah, what else? Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes.
Is there a validity period for that?
As it stands, I think it's till next year or so, or 2025. I'm not exactly sure, but yes, but a lot of people have been doing that. Even before they like made it official. A lot of people have been working, obviously more than 20 hours. They actually know that you can survive with 20 hours, but a lot of people have been doing that. So it's official right now. So it's true.
Okay, so for students that want to come in now, are we saying that they cannot work beyond 20 hours?
No, they can't.
I won't lie to you, the school fees is outrageous. Even if I say that is the cheapest school, the school fees is outrageous.
So I forgot to mention something. So when coming to Canada, right, or even the UK, try to find a school that offers scholarship. A lot of schools in Canada, and even the UK. I remember when I was planning to travel.
But I want to say something also. It's quite difficult to get scholarship when it's not a STEM program.
When it's not a what?
A STEM program, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics program. It's quite difficult because even in the US, based on my research, even in the US, US give a lot of fully funded scholarship. They hardly give to management students, or the only management student I think they give to is people that actually want to do their MBA. And for a reason, I'm not looking at MBA. I'm looking at this particular course for my master's, which is what I'm currently doing as in my profession, because I also have international certification. So I'm trying to, like Oinda said, it took her 5 years to plan. So I'm also planning that route too. I know what I want, and I don't just want to jump into anything because I want to travel abroad and follow the bandwagon effect. I have a particular plan. So that's just it.
So first, let me start from your first question. A province in New Brunswick. So there are 4 Atlantic provinces: Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, PEI, meaning Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland. So they are in the Atlantic province. I'm actually in Nova Scotia, which is one of the 4 Atlantic provinces. So the 4 are always looking for people because it's kind of a bit like remote province. I don't know how to put it. It's not really remote, but they're always looking for people. A lot of people, especially PEI and Newfoundland, people don't really go there that much. But some people go there for school and they leave. So they're always looking for people. So you're actually correct with your research. If you get a job there remotely, virtually, I don't know how true it is if you can apply for PMP from outside Canada, but you can definitely get a work permit. either 2 or 3 years or 5 years work permit. And when you come in after like 2 or 3 years, you can apply for your permanent resident. So it's very true. However, also school, you can come in through schools into any of these 4 provinces I've highlighted. It's easier to come in these 4 provinces. Chindo is in Ontario. It's difficult to get into school now. Ontario is like Lagos.
Ontario is very expensive.
Yeah, it's like Lagos.
Ontario is
You know,
Like
everybody
London.
wants to go.
Chidindo, you're balling in Ontario. It's like
Ontario is
London.
expensive.
It is expensive.
I think I have one other question. Elijah, please, I don't know if you've answered that question of
Okay.
the validity period for international students working beyond 20 hours.
So usually, I think you can work for 40 hours till you finish. But the thing is, you must have a way to balance your education with your work. It's not easy working 40 hours. That's full time with your education. It's not so easy, but you can. It's something that the government have made official in Canada. You can. Chinji, you want to say something?
To be honest, that 20 hours does not come from anywhere. It comes from scientific studies that show that when a person works more than 20 hours a week, they start failing their school. There have been studies that have shown that, and that's why they made the rule of
They
20.
reduce. Sure.
It's even if you think, oh, I have to work more than 20 hours, just know that if you are working more than 20 hours, it affects your schooling severely. And that's something to mind.
So
And
that's
there's no
why.
implication. There's no implication if you work beyond 20 hours as beyond 20 hours. There's no implication if you want to get your PR.
No.
Is there a way they
Now
can
it's
track?
official. So now it's official. The government is telling you as a student you can work more than 20 hours as a student.
Okay.
They are telling you now. So there's no implication. If the government say yes, then it's yes. There's no, even before now, there was no implication. As long as you can balance it with your school, that's all.
I know Cynthia.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Cynthia. Yeah, Cynthia has a question. I think she's been. Where's Easy? Unmute your mic. Cynthia, I don't know whether they unmute. Cynthia, I did that.
No, she knows where to unmute. I'm sure something is.
I mean, she did look so.
The Chris.
Okay. Cynthia, go ahead.
My question, can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, we can.
Absolutely.
Okay, like my question, I just want to know, like, if you want to travel out, like basically everybody that is traveling out maybe based on school. When they want to go and school there and the rest, school and work. But if you want to travel out, basically, what's the total amount you need to have at hand before you traveling out? Like what cost? What cost? How much do you need on ground?
I think Oyinda spoke very extensively on that, but it depends on your
No,
country.
it depends on
it depends on your country. However, if you want to travel and you want to settle in a country, I've seen like considering the exchange rate, India is not around 6 to 10 million for you to be very comfortable in the country. 6 to 10 million. That will be fine. However, if you want follow back door, obviously you use less amount. So like I said, my own, I used way less. Chindo, I beg, let me mute. Did they fight though?
Talk your talk, guy.
Okay.
With 10 million. But that's
ideally.
They still combo. Ideally, 10 million.
Yeah, but so like my own, I used less, and that was because I just wanted to cut costs at all means. So what I did was pay the agent 150. But when you enter in the country, you have actually made some money. I'll probably say like $5,000 at least, all that. So I don't know how much $5,000 is in Naira. So let's say maybe like 2 to 3 million. That will help you for accommodation, feeding before you get a job. You need a place to stay. So accommodation and feeding till you can get a job. That should take care of that for like maybe let's say, how long do you think 5K would take?
Also
maybe like
depends on how well you manage. Some people don't know how to manage.
Yeah, true. Depends on how well you manage.
Make sure you pack enough food from Nigeria when you're going.
Yes.
So you
Like,
know that you're not buying food outside. It's just basic.
take
No,
Gary.
It
no,
is
take
true.
Gary.
All right, let's
Take
let's
all
let's
the food stuff
let's
they
go
eat.
to another question. Okay, Ido was saying that's not what she was asking. Maybe
And
Ido.
that be the reason too before now. Well, I'm on it. You
Let's
don't
listen
go.
to Femi because Femi has had his hand on. Oh, how much to
Okay,
start?
Feb.
How much to start processing? Elijah, just answer that.
Depending on the country, to start processing, maybe like if you're going through school. So it depends on what you're going for again. So if it's through school, to start processing the whole thing first for a start, if 500,000 should be okay.
Yeah, I
I don't
agree.
know.
Oh, your case should
Yeah.
be not processing, but you still spend a lot more money before you.
Yeah,
All
before
right,
yes.
let's
So
Femi ask this question.
I mean, officers, go ahead.
Let's Femi go first.
Okay.
Yes, hello. Good evening, everyone.
evening.
Oh, yeah. So, thank you for organizing this event because I am actually gaining a whole lot of knowledge here. So, I have a question. I am asking on behalf of myself and my younger brother. All right. So now, for me now, I don't know. Maybe you should just see it like an advice. Currently, I have a job with the government here, and I'm definitely doing well for myself. Yeah. I work for FRS, and yeah, at least to some extent, I am okay on my own. Yes, though I am not married yet too, so there's no too much
Bukata.
bukata, the exactly. So at least I can fend for myself. So, but then a relative told me recently because I won't lie, lots of people are moving every now and then. Even I have colleagues that have resigned and left. So it also, as in, it's now bothering me too that I think I'm not doing the right thing. I think I should just resign. I think I should just resign too, and should I just resign too and go? Because it's as if everybody just wants to leave this country. So I have a relative that told me that there's an opportunity that I just need to get married with my girlfriend, and then so I think when you talk about care sponsorship, so they said that my wife will be doing that care job, like she will be the sponsor. I don't know what that means.
Sponsor, yeah.
That she will be the sponsor.
sponsor. You'll be the dependent.
Yeah, exactly. That she will be the sponsor and I'll be the dependent, and then I'll be able to work as in like do any work that I want there. That I'll be free to work. You get like to do any work.
40 hours. Yeah. Anyway.
So okay. So now my question is, when they said I can do any work, is it that once I get there, I can use my
Fall on
CV?
your lap.
No, you start. Everybody starts from the ground. I tell you.
Yeah.
You do
Okay.
work in restaurants, something from the ground. And this is what I'll tell you. This is what I'll tell you. It depends on how much faith you have.
Yeah.
People like me, I don't have any faith in Nigeria. If you are making 1 million a month, I would still advise that person to leave that 1 million month job and travel. Making 2 million a month. I have no faith in Nigeria. I believe that in the next 5 years, 10 years, that money will mean nothing. But people like Elijah now, they believe in Nigeria. They think that Nigeria will be better. And so for them, they are able to stay and say, oh, I'm making maybe 500K, I'm going to stay. I'm making 400K, oh, because I don't want to go abroad and start from the ground. You're going to start from the ground. But no matter what you do, you're going to start from the ground. So you start hustling.
Yeah. So Femi, you're basically going to put down your, So I was saying you're going to have to put down your, when you are
Ego.
the owner of this house.
Call on, put
You are
down
the owner of this
your
house,
ego.
your ego. Yeah, you're going to have to drop your ego and everything down and start from the bottom. And another thing that would help you, see, Femi, I wouldn't, if I'm doing your kind of job, a government job, FIRS, I know you guys work with tax and everything. It's a very tough one for me. If I wouldn't want to live there. I would rather prefer to be in the country while my wife go there. Let me keep earning money here. So she goes there and do this work, and I come there to just flex once in a while. Probably give her belay, come back to Nigeria, that kind of stuff. Just be flexing and just doing like that. But I would not. So maybe later on, if you feel that, oh, this is too taxing or anything, then you can just move. But I would not advise you to drop whatever you're doing, especially as you're working for government. And it's a good, what do they call all this starter? Yeah,
Civil servant.
starter. Yeah, so I would not advise you to drop what you're doing there and follow her. But you can come together preliminary, then you come back. Just take a break, maybe a 2-month break or a 1-month break from work.
Okay, yes. Yes, that's true. The same, I mean, yes, yes, you're right. The person also mentioned it too, that I can still come back. You get that I just, that I can come back. So
don't resign from your job, don't do anything, just come and see how it is, then come back to your job.
okay, but then it is compulsory that I must get married.
Yeah, you have to get married because
you know what, Mariam?
Okay, so for me, the reason why is because when she's applying for a visa, she has to put there that she's married and she has to put your name there. So if as at the point of her visa, she did not put that she's married, it will be very difficult for you to go. But
okay, but now, okay. Sorry, can you finish?
Okay, so this is why they're asking you to marry, because when you have certificate and you have pictures, so that certificate, she has to upload it as when she's filling her form for visa. So she has to say, oh, I'm married. Who are you married to? Femi Adeoye. Here's your certificate. So upload relevant documents. She uploads the wedding certificate. So that is why you have to get married. She doesn't need to change her name. I've not changed my name. My husband is even advised me not to change my name. So she does not need to change her name. She does not need to bear your name. Just the evidence that you're married to her and you have a certificate.
Okay.
It's good.
Okay.
So Peter,
okay, so now
may I have one? Oh, okay. I've never finished. Okay. Yeah.
Like I have heard scenarios because in that UK that you people are, I've heard lots of stories. You know, UK people don't allow us to rest.
Yeah, like a lot of things are staged. Let me just tell you now. So a lot of things they are staged. Like they stage a lot of things. Basically, just I shouldn't lie to you. It's quite difficult for you if you come here as a single person. If you now come here as a married person with kids, it's a bit harder. If you come here as a singly married, I would say I'm singly married, but married, just you and your husband, you enjoy UK more because you now have a lot of your wife will be working Bukata, exactly. So you'll be enjoying it a lot. So what people do is content. So they just do content creation because, so like now, I'm not working. I'm practically not doing anything over the weekend and I'm bored. And I know I can earn money on YouTube. I would tell my husband, please, let's stage something and let's just do one content on YouTube and upload.
Okay.
And that would get us, that is a passive income. Yeah, passive income. So it just keeps going and with time you start earning money from, and now people in the UK will be the one watching your stuff and start earning in pounds. And you know how YouTube works. I don't know if you know how YouTube works, but that is how YouTube works. Once you get to the number of YouTube, you start
I've heard lots of that
so people do this because they want to drive controversy. Not really because
Okay, good. Thanks for clarifying that anyway, because even me, I was scared because in fact I've heard stories whereby it is the wife that will even send the husband away from home.
Most of them are
no, but it happens. So
it
actually,
but most
no, it's not staged. Elijah will tell you.
The ones that
marriages are broken yet more.
The ones that don't get to the light of the day because it has implications too. It has implications. So, for example, you claim you're married and it's a fake stuff. It's fake.
So
it has implications.
Man should go hustle and find house to stay. The woman is the one that owns the house.
Peter.
Yes.
Me, I will advise you. So they've said wonderful things. Me, if I was anyone in that salary, I won't even leave. Still they talk 1 million, 2 million, leave that too. If I was anyone in that salary at the time, I wasn't gonna. If I was anyone,
it's per annum, not per year.
It's not 1 month. It not concern me.
In Lagos,
you have the potential to earn a lot more if you work in the West. The beauty of the West is this. There is gain with how you work. I have worked hard, and I know that if I work a little bit harder, I'm going to make more money. In Nigeria, I feel I can struggle hard to get first class. I will not still make this. But I'm confident in the West that as I work hard, I'm going to make money. I'm going to
making the money.
I'm
Yeah.
going to rise in the ranks. So I think for me, no, there's no amount of money you can pay me that will say, oh,
You know, shouldn't do this is exactly my mentality. I shouldn't lie. Like, I don't know. My husband was like, if I was earning a little bit more than what I was earning, would I want to come to the UK? And I told him that this thing is like, okay, so it's not Japa way for me. It's like something that's been in my head for a very long time. So it's been in my head, stuck in my head. I work hard, I work really hard, and I know that I just need to work. It's not showing. So, but even in the UK as I am, I'm working 20 hours or less than 20 hours. If I use 1 minute after 20 hours, I'm getting paid for that 1 minute after 20 hours. In the UK, me and Okwemi know. Sometimes 8 o'clock we're at work. Some of us will not be looking at each other. Sometimes Okwemi will say people that sit 9 to 5, 7 to 5, what are they doing? We are at work 9 o'clock.
I
We are
should
not
also,
going anywhere. We don't get overtime payment for these things.
I
We
should
don't
add
get.
before we switch to Nofi to ask a question. I should add that in my mind, there's a hierarchy of Western countries. Canada is at the top. I always put UK at the top.
I really don't mind the hierarchy.
If
In short, I'm
Hello,
always
sorry,
looking
I've
at
not finished my question, please. Please,
Give me that.
please, give me my question.
if I go to
Okay.
UK, I might not stay that much. I'll be looking for how to leave UK and go
No be like
coming to
sha.
you,
from
Canada.
UK.
I'm
If I
coming to
we,
you.
So
we in
let me ask the
Canada, the
last
way we dey
question.
look
Canada and
UK
stuff.
dey una wahala too much.
Yeah. I shouldn't lie. I'll be realistic. Like, I'll choose Canada over UK.
Yeah.
Like, I'll choose Canada over UK. Now, getting to the UK, I'm telling you that this is just like a plan one,
Mhm.
leading to other plans. Like, you understand that kind of stuff. So it's not really like this is your taking plan or this is your standalone plan. You have to think of a lot of things. You can't
Right.
just put all your egg in one basket.
Sorry, please let me just finish my question. So, I said I'll ask on behalf of myself and my younger brother. So, so now my younger brother recently just got an admission to study data analytics and science at St. Mary's University in Canada, Halifax or something. I don't know. Yeah. So, but then there is the agent that convinced my pops that why is my pops spending money, that my younger brother's profile is very attractive. So then they applied for express entry.
Yeah.
So in the agent's words, he said that he was certain that they would pick my younger brother for express entry because of this.
Hey,
The government. He's in Canada government.
there's no certainty. So
Okay.
your brother should have taken, if I were advice, your brother should have taken the student route to come in because he would have still stayed actually. And I went to St. Mary's. I went to the same school your brother, is got admission in. And the truth is, every year, or like every school in Canada, I would say, they get bursary. There are always scholarships. So even if it's school fees, let's say school fees says like $15,000, for example, I can talk to his distance, every semester when he's paying. If there's any scholarship, bursary the school, we give to subsidize what we pay. And I feel Nova Scotia is one of the cheap provinces to live in Canada, generally. And I feel that express entry, anyone who says it's short, like you said it, he said you can dot all your eyes and cross all your teeth. You know, they do what they call officer discretion. If you just wake up, say you won't reject people for no reason.
Though the school fees was a bit high because I think the fees was close to 30,000 Canadian dollar. So,
what he could have done was
maybe that's
okay. So that discouraged. So what he could have done was he could have actually written to the school, even though the school fees is 30,000. So this information I didn't even know about it. What he could have done was he could have sent an email to the school also, asking for bursary subsidization or scholarships and all whatnot. Then I could have written to the school.
Write to the
yeah,
school.
You can actually do that. Yeah,
or you can apply to a different school. To be honest, you go to a cheaper.
Or you can apply to a different or to a cheaper school too. So whichever you can do, it's fine. 30K to an extent, it's a lot. I remember my school fees now was like 20 or 20 something. That's a lot. But when I go in here, I remembered, there are actually channels that, to finish his school debt free. How did he do it? How did he do it? they give her money. No, it works out. But the truth is, there are things, like there are ways that you can subsidize these things, and it could have come in. It depends. So if he had a good job in Nigeria, maybe it could have stayed. But if not, I could have actually come in. That's the school I went to, and province I'm at. So
Really?
I can tell you a lot about it. Yeah.
I think
Okay, maybe. Okay, sorry, Mr. Elijah. Sorry, maybe can I connect you and my younger brother later on?
Okay.
And
Sure.
advise him more better.
Okay. No problem.
Because he's also an alumni of Eccowas. He left Eccowas, I think, in SS1 or so. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, okay. We know to Sabia.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, let's.
But no worries.
Question.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, sure.
Nofi, you are next. And this will be the last question. And after the event is officially over, you can hang out for the next till for 7 o'clock. Sorry.
Okay, guys. Good evening.
Good on
Please, I would not. Please take it like that. Shibi, can you?
Hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay. So, Oinda, please, I'll be directing this to you, and because you're in the UK, and I would like. I want to make clarity on some things.
Okay.
For your study visa is a year, yeah, and I am made to understand that after the 1 year study visa, you are still okay. If you get sponsorship, you can still stay 2 years more, Abby, if I'm not mistaken.
Let me explain to you. So study visa, depending on the length of your study visa, is depending on the length of your course of study. So it's not a BAM 1 year, it's not a BAM 1.5 years, it's not a BAM. So depending on your length of study, that's how they will give you a study visa. And they will even add extra 5 months to it.
My data finish up tonight. I think that
Hello?
After your
Yeah.
so
after my study visa, I'm allowed to apply for a postgraduate visa, which for 2 years.
For 2 years. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
This is to allow me to look for jobs and the like.
I'm still coming somewhere. There is this thing for I don't know if it's sponsorship for 5 years. But I think you for 5 years, Abby.
Yeah,
okay.
That is for your work visa. Call it tier 2
so,
visa.
Okay, so is there a need to, while your study visa is still on, is there a need to also to work the 5 years work visa simultaneously while your study visa is still on? Is there a need to do that?
No. So you can't be on one visa and be running on another. It can be on 2 visas. So if you come in with study visa and you get here and you now get this work visa, you have to switch. So you have to switch.
Okay.
Or you came in with work visa and you now decided that I want to go to school. You have to switch to a study visa. So it's not that you can't work.
I did not get
at the same time. Okay, so if you come with study visa into the UK, and when you go to the UK, you now found a work visa, you have to switch your visa to the work visa, which is a 5-year visa. You have to switch.
Okay.
However, so you can't work 2 visas at the same time. You have to always switch. So even if you work visa and you decide that I want to go to school, you have to switch to the study visa. I don't know if that clarifies it.
Okay, so is there a need to switch? You still have your study visa on.
Yeah.
You still have the chance for 2 years post-study visa after your 1 year, after the length of your study.
Yeah.
Is there a need to switch while that is still on? Is there a need to switch?
Okay, so depending on the person you have, really. So the reason why people want to switch is because so they will have a 5-year visa and they will not have issues. It's a job, so you don't have issues. Like me now, I'm schooling, and after school, I still need to go and get a job. I don't even get that done. So, but that work is a job already. So you just be working, and after then you get your higher level. So it's not like me. I'm studying. So after my study, I will now go and look for a job. So depending on the level of, so basically people that are now, they are looking for this kind of visa sponsorship and the likes. I am not looking for this kind of visa sponsorship. I'm looking for a job that goes in line with what I study. And the fact that I have a 2-year postgraduate visa, it's something that I consider. So I have 3 years or 3 years more to get whatever I want to do, study and get my visa or get a good job that will sponsor me, not necessarily this. Okay, and this job that will also sponsor me also falls under this worker visa, this work visa, tier 2 visa. So the people that want to employ me so that will get the job later would also finance me for 5 years. After these 5 years, because the visa is for 5 years, so after these 5 years, I will now apply for indefinite leave to remain, which out of these 5 years I've counted towards that. That indefinite leave to remain is about 10 years. And since I've done a work visa for 5 years, so it's taking 5 years out of it and
Okay.
5 years on the ILR, which will now later work towards my permanent residency. So it's a whole lot of process for UK, really. And people have done it. So it's not something that you cannot do. And these years, before you know it now, it's done. Ask Elijah, how long has it been in the Canada? Cheating do these years just fly by so fast, and you just need to be on top of your game. It's a plan, basically. It's a plan. As I am in the UK, I cannot. I'm sleeping, but it's things are running in my head every time on what to do to be on top of my game and how. Because of course, I don't want to live in a country illegally, and I'm not the kind of person that will want to have DP because of stuff like that. So I just basically work towards it, and I have a partner too that is also working towards it. So it's making it a bit easier for me,
All right.
basically. So that's what I would say.
All right. Let's let me ask his last question and then we close.
Okay, thank you.
Elijah, can you hear me?
Here's Elijah now.
Hello?
I hear you. Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, Sili. Sorry, my mic was muted.
Okay. Okay, so sorry. So I think I skipped a question. I wanted to ask about postgraduate studies. I know there are schools that offer postgraduate studies programs in Canada. So can you just shed more light on that, please?
So I want to understand postgraduate study. When you talk of postgraduate study, there are like 3 different categories. So a lot of people only know of 2. So masters and PhD, like doctorate degree. But one a lot of people don't know about is we call it postgraduate diploma. So it's a diploma program.
Exactly.
This one is for people that, for example, maybe you graduated with a very low grade in school, or this one also is for people that maybe the master's school fees is too much. They have to pay. They can do this one. So it's usually a year or 2, depending on the school. And it's actually one way also to stay in Canada too. Very, very valuable.
Okay.
In fact, I know people started off their master's program. The master's was too tough for them. They just switched and, master's was like 2 years. They just switched to like diploma because it's almost the same course. We just do maybe like 1 or 2 extra. So they just switched and, use that one to just get their stay Canada basically.
So does that also offer you a 3 years postgraduate work permit?
Yes. So if the diploma is for 2 years, you get 3 years work permit. If the diploma is for 1 year, you'll be lucky to get 2 years. So like CJ said, see this thing, just depends on the person that was doing your this thing that day. Officially, they can give you a year, but they can give you 2 years. I'm telling you, the guy can just wake up. They have so much liberty, freedom to do anything, But you would definitely get a postgraduate work permit, definitely.
Okay.
And Adeyo Peter, I don't know if he's there too. So for your brother, even if he comes through the express entry, most likely we still have to go to school to get, a better job. So is either he goes to the school now or he go later. One way or the other.
But Elijah, I want to say something. Elijah, I still want to say something.
Okay.
I still want to say something. That express entry, someone comes in as a skilled worker. Let's say probably you were being shortlisted, you were given ITA, you got your visa, you came in, and does it really require you to go to school in Canada before you can get a job?
No.
Notwithstanding with the fact that you've had experience.
Yes, so getting a job in Canada is sometimes can be chance or skill. So
sorry, I'm not talking about any out job now. I'm talking about professional jobs.
Yes.
Professional
So
jobs.
most likely you might not get it. Is it true? most likely you might not get it.
So the industry, if you're doing like an IT, you are a software developer, for instance, you probably get a good job. But
If you're like
Oh,
software, you
right,
have to prove that you can actually do it. So like those skilled jobs, like prove that you can do it. If not, you start from elementary level. I was already a graduate before leaving Nigeria. At least I had like a year work experience. My first job was driving forklift. If I drive you for that
yeah.
forklift, you go
Forklift
fear.
operator.
Yeah, that was my first job, and I actually did like it. I put down my ego and all those things to start, from there and all. Like this is something you can grow. So basically, so that's it. You can. That's if you're skilled in some distance. If not, you go start from. Most people are
So
fine. Go to school
all these
first, even if
these
it's 1
in-demand
year or
skills.
6 months.
So all these in-demand skills in all these programs, so now scam.
No be scam. No be
Now
scam.
scam.
very hard.
No.
It's impossible unless it is.
So for example now, Manitoba will tell you that he needs accountants. Saskatchewan will tell you that he needs maybe I don't want to go into the
So
science field. I want to
okay,
come
so
into more of
let me use
management field.
accounting, for example. Accounting in Nigeria is not accounting. If they tell you to come and file taxes, can you file taxes there? So that's where the
No, you
difference
can't.
is, right?
You can't. Surely you can't.
Exactly. So you either have to go to school first for like 6 months to actually fit into their system, or like a year. So most people are fine, even though they are professionals, but when they come here, they tend to like go to school for like 1 year, 2 years before they integrate completely into the system.
I
So
wanted to
it's
So
not a
even when
scam.
you come in with when you come in with EE or PMP, you still need to go to school. Hey, voila.
It's not
wait, I
You still need to
compulsory.
wanted
go
to
to
say
No,
school.
something,
it's not
Elijah.
compulsory.
The
Ma,
reason why I actually came to student route, it's
Sorry, I can't
and
hear you
again,
clearly.
I mentioned that my course is not a 1 year course, it's 16-month course, so it has
yeah.
internship. So that's the reason why I came to study this kind of course, because the fact what you just mentioned now, you need something to ease you into their system.
System.
You need something to
Exactly.
ease you into the system. If you go on studying, if you just go through, I don't know how people do it really. People that go on PR, I don't know how they do it, and I don't know if it's so easy for them to get a job or something. I would still advise the student, but I tell you, I have a master's in Nigeria. I still came here to do another master's because I know that
Yeah,
to
sure.
ease me into the system in Nigeria, in the
Exactly.
UK, I need a study route. I need something to ease you into the system. Otherwise, some
It
of
will be
these things,
difficult.
except
Yeah.
you want to do care and social work where
Exactly.
you don't mind how they maltreat you or how they treat you, and you don't want to have a voice, and it takes a lot of you putting down your ego, putting down a lot of, like taking a lot of shit, taking a lot of racist stuff, taking a lot of jabs and slaps and everything.
I'll give you an
And that,
example.
sorry to, oh, okay, Chindu, give,
My wife, for instance, she's a physiotherapist.
okay.
She's very good. She's very good at her job. She's the best. Now, if you came to Canada, most people who come to Canada, you can write the exam. You don't have to go to school. You don't have to go to school. You have to write the exam. If you pass the exam, you can practice. But the truth is that number one, most people who come to Canada and write the exam, they fail. No matter
True.
they still fail because it's different. In Nigeria, for instance, a person has this problem. How are you going to solve it? There's no lift. There's no
True.
no nothing. The machines they are using for physiotherapy in Nigeria, everything is you turn the person on the bed, you do this, you do this. It's not the same thing, even though they are both physiotherapists. And so
It's not the same. True.
cultural context makes a whole lot of difference. And that's why it was important for her to go back to school to see and do internship and see how they are doing it. Then she knows the answer, because the same answer that they'll give in Nigeria is not really the same answer they'll give in Canada. So
that is true. Chindu is very correct about
Okay.
that. And I forgot another thing.
Okay.
Another skill job you can do in Canada when you come to Canada, either as a student or this thing, is driving. So I discovered that when I came. So as much
Is it
as
truck driving to be specific? Truck
truck
driving.
driving, bus driving. So I drove after my 40th, I go drive school bus. So if
Normal
my
level.
brother, if I drive school bus, you go fear. I drive.
Those are
Hey,
long buses. Are you serious?
thank you, Inda, you are in the
Ah,
spirit.
you're
Thank
a
you.
good driver with those
Why
narrow
now?
roads and everything. Like,
I drove the bus,
thumbs up,
and
thumbs up.
actually, it was one of my highest paid job in Canada.
Yes,
So
they
they
pay a lot.
pay a lot. I remember then I was earning almost $30 an hour driving the bus. that's the simplest job I've ever done in my life. I'm telling you how simple it is. All I need to do is drive. Like just drive.
When the
Do you
next
know?
bus stop,
Just
you stop.
exactly next bus stop, you just stop. Put all the motor
So
goes.
sorry,
stop.
Elijah. Sorry to break you.
Yeah.
Sorry to break you. You learn driving in Canada because I've had situations whereby people did international driving license before they travel. So
No, I
does
didn't
that
do
apply in
that.
Canada?
No, you will have to still go through the whole elementary process in
After
Canada.
how
So let me tell you, I was driving.
Hey,
I drove in Nigeria. So when I came here, no, you know what? I didn't know what to do. So when I came to Canada, right, I got the normal class. They have different classes. I don't know how it is in the UK. So class 5 is the normal one for car. If you want to drive like school bus, you have to like get like a class 2B. So the B there means school bus and endorsement. So that 2B. We have class 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Class 1 is to drive the long, like the 18-wheeler truck. If you have class 2, you can drive any vehicle 3, 4, and 5 and all. So the care job, instead of going through the care job, especially as a guy, you can go through this one. This one is actually in demand. I remember before I drove the school, I drove truck, box truck, not the big one. So driving, it was one job that I was able to really, really get myself into, make money in it, and stabilize myself. In fact, when I bought my first car in Canada, that was a job. Imagine, that was a job I used to get my first car in Canada. So it's one job you can actually use to get yourself in the system, and they also steady. They are always in demand. Always in demand.
Even in the UK too.
You see, even that school
Even in
bus,
the UK.
it'd be like Bomitanki, it'd be like downfall. That one, what's that one, boss? That Molue, thank you, Molue.
Yeah,
But yes, a
exactly.
modernized Molue, and I drove it, and nobody know if I snap picture, still they fine. If I don't tell you, my brother, no. I drive with this one. My brother, I used to park the school bus in my house. So at my house at the park, I could just park.
I'll just leave the conversation. You guys can ask anybody any question you want. You can put on your.
Miss Oyinda. So what is access to healthcare like in UK, and Elijah and Chirindu, what is access to healthcare like in Canada?
Okay, so for what, for UK really?
So
not like
healthcare.
For healthcare.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
In Nigeria, you can just like if you're feeling headache, just rush into hospital and you get attended to. In short, immediately, so far you're paying your money, they will attend to you. I'm sorry, in UK, money cannot buy you that one. Even if you have the old money, you wait your turn. And before so they have different kind of hospitals. So
walking clinic.
So they have walking clinic. They have a big Royal Infirmary. Then they have small clinics where you have to see a doctor. So basically, I have a doctor attached to me. So if you ask me that who is my doctor, I have a name of a doctor that attends to me in this UK. And that name of that doctor, if I go any other place and I say that this is the name of my doctor, they can take out my register.
Buy alpha, short vote stop. But for what's the name? But when you come to the UK and you're ill, they'll tell you the first thing you're supposed to do. If you're having a headache, go to a pharmacy or something. You can treat yourself by yourself. Probably sleep or you're stressed. On rare cases, you have to see your doctor. It's not easy to see your doctor. Sometimes you have to book appointments. So let me just say you have to book appointment to see a doctor. And if it's not life-threatening, you don't need to go to a walk-in clinic. And even when you go to a walk-in clinic, they use a triage. There's something they call triage. So I'm sure Chidindu and Elijah should know. So it's basically like, depending on your level of illness, there's case on cases. Even if you come there, you're almost dying. If they bring a kid there that is almost dying, they will attend to the kid first before they attend to you. So you can go there and you'll be waiting up to like 4 hours, 5 hours, and you cannot do anything about it. You just need to wait. So access to healthcare, it's easy. They have all the facilities. For pregnant women, it's free. For me now,
that's one thing I wanted to ask.
Do
you have to pay?
Healthcare. I only pay for my medication if I want medications.
Okay.
But it's free. It's free. But you have to wait your turn and you have to be very patient with the system.
So let me use myself. Let me use myself as an example. So I've been to the hospital a couple of times. you will wait. In fact, I don't know how it is in the UK. In Canada, as I said, my province, you will wait if it's not like life threatening. If it's not life threatening, my brother, you can wait for 7 hours. You can wait for
Yes,
10
same
hours.
thing in the UK.
It's just the truth. They will attend to you well. Remember the
They'll
last
attend
time I
to
went
you.
to the hospital, I had an accident. The driver lost his brakes and applied to my vehicle. I needed to see a cardiologist. So for heart, they said my heart was beating irregularly and blah blah. They discovered something, so I needed to. It sounded like an emergency. Oh.
Yeah.
I still waited. Okay, never did die. So okay, you just wait. Yo, I waited. At some point, so I said they should send a message to the cardiologist. I'm going. They literally came down, told me to wait. That they just want to finish one person. That wait now like another 4 or 5 hours, guy. So when it comes to that, it's free. I don't know about the UK. Healthcare in Canada is, generally free. But
It's cheap. It's cheap,
it's free,
right?
free.
But you paid.
You're not
Oh.
For
paying.
me, I've paid already when I was living. So that's why I told you that my fees
Yeah.
1,000.
No, hey, no, you pay. Yeah,
I've paid
for
mine.
students,
I
it
paid
will.
before. So I paid before I came to the UK. I paid. It's part of my. So when you want to pay your visa fee alone is just 400 and something pounds. But your IHS fee is what it takes that it's into this. Your IHS fee for a year is maybe like 400 and almost close to 500. But almost close to
Yeah.
500. So you already paid that when you're coming because you use the year.
But once you become a resident of the
Yeah.
country, it's
Yeah, I think it's
literally
except you pay
free.
for just your drugs. When you go
Yeah,
and take your drugs from the pharmacy.
So
you
most
pay,
times
and
people don't actually like going to the clinic over here. So if you have a
yeah,
headache or
they
something,
take
go
they
to
just
pharmacy, go
sort
buy
themselves
your
out.
drug or this
But
thing.
but in the UK, there are drugs they can sell over the counter, and there are drugs that they cannot sell over the counter. So
True.
for
There are some
UK,
drugs you need
there
prescription
are some
for.
of our drugs that we just walk into the pharmacy and buy that you can't just get anyhow.
So yeah,
Okay.
one time they attended to me very quickly was I had to pretend like I was like that day. I remember. So it was when I just relocated from Canada. I guess change of environment, weather, everything affected. I started vomiting. All campus, I was vomiting. Had to get an ambulance, go to the hospital. So it sounded very, very urgent. So they had to attend to me early. Aside that, come on, my brother, we go wait. And before that, I never go hospital.
Elijah, sorry, I
Yeah.
get question. As they come my head, they ask me. People that actually have PR in Canada that came in through maybe PMP, EE, if they want to go back to school, do they get educational grants from the government?
Yeah, so apparently it's cheaper when you have your PR, it's relatively cheap. We're not there yesterday. Okay, can you hear me? I can hear you now.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so it's relatively cheap, when you have your permanent residence. In fact, let me tell you how cheap it is. My school fees at the time, like for the 1 year, was like 20K. People who are PR and are citizen were paying like 8K, 6K, 5K. That's how cheap it is if you have PR. In fact, they milk international students generally more. I know. So, you're saying something?
There's a difference in the fees.
Yeah.
So the reason why I even
Huge
chose
one.
my school was because both citizen and high as an international student, we pay the same fees. Even as at 2017, we paid the same fees, even as at now. But however, new intake that are going to resume in September now, it's quite high. I think they've put a little bit difference. I think they've already achieved what they want to achieve. So there's a little difference. For every school, international students' fees are always higher than their citizen fees. For every school, even in the US. I don't know about US, but I know about Canada.
I think in the US too, yeah. In Canada, it's high.
Always very different.
Yeah. So it's true. Any other question? Because I won't come out. So any other? Cynthia, Azana, Bome, I think we actually did well.
Thank you for attending the session. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate every one of your questions. Up where Nofi, Cynthia, Chidindu, don't come back.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I think that should be it for now. Cynthia, I hope all your questions were answered.
It's great to see all your faces, and we hope to have more of these conversations. Things on my plan are to do maybe
Cynthia, I like your
a master's postgraduate, session or something else, just to see your faces and talk about these things, because I think we have to go beyond just cruising, give away on the group to actually more substantive things. So thank you guys for coming. I'm happy to see your faces and hope to see you guys more in the future.
Elijah, what did you like?
Una where collect data, we no show face.
Stopping the recording now, but
data.
keep talking.